I'm a descendant of people who have been part of one of the great circulations of people throughout during this Anthropocene, this last 600 years or so. My ancestors, who were also your ancestors, hail from deep earth. Like all of us, risen from the soil, being made of its clays and its rocks, its fire, its water, but most importantly, its mycelial growth. Somehow we took our first steps and we became separate beings, but still made of earth, needing to interface with all of its elements and having a nervous system made up and mirroring the mycelium in the substrata. With this soil intelligence, we moved across the face of the earth intelligently, interpreters of the ways of the earth, living lightly, eating and being eaten, part of earth's ecology. Then in the 20th century, my ancestors responded to other calls of the mother country, the mother who had neglected us. Come and bring your labor for our streets, which were paved with gold. We went, not for the gold, but in the hope that we could fill up the bottomless caverns of our suffering to bring well-being to our families. Again, we came as torn people, families splintered, and once we arrived, looked down upon, filling the statistics of the newly deprived, we continued to try to seek this thing, well-being. It's always been our quest. My grandmother brought with her the alchemy of turning black London soil into golden corn, squash and beans.
I started to look at food more as a source of power, to see agriculture as the basis of sovereignty, which I wasn't aware, being a city girl and being more into the wildlife subject. It also brought my attention that I always was dealing with men, and only with men who were doing decision making, who were making the decisions for land management. And I started to wonder myself, where are women? No, where are women doing all this, making all these decisions to conserve biodiversity? So that's how I reached kitchen and home gardens, because that's where I found women making decisions to conserve biodiversity, to deciding and applying their own criteria to decide where they were conserving which seeds and which are being left to forgetting.
I moved to the Amazon. I was living with indigenous communities for almost 3 months. It was very rough, and I remember was one of my hard experiences, because I even could die, because the environment is so hard, but it's so amazing. There are so much diversity. I knew that there were, like, for example, if you go to the supermarket, you only choose one banana, but then I discovered 8 types of bananas, different types of cassavas. We were studying different agroecological systems in those areas. All of this discussion is amazing because we can bring all of different views. So we need people-centered solutions.
Speaking about solutions and what are some of the innovations and solutions that I find most exciting, there are many of them. It makes me very optimistic, but I'd like to focus on maybe something very specific, which is soil fertility. Probably about 1/3 of our soils around the world are seriously or moderately degraded. And, many agricultural systems seem to have forgotten about soil as a living thing. It's like an inert substance. You put the seeds in, you get the vegetables out. We may tend to forget is that many local farmers and traditional farmers know a lot about soil fertility. They know about the techniques such as bringing in compost or green manure, growing crops that can be integrated back into the soil, creating a water balance, which is correct. And those are things that are very important. Now, of course, these are often packaged now into things that like permaculture or organic agriculture that sound like they were invented yesterday. But we should remember that these are techniques that are rooted in so many different people's cultures, and the sharing of them amongst farmers through farmer field schools is a very effective way of enhancing soil fertility.